Hello, welcome to Bits in Biology. My name's Liz, and in this video, I'm going to play through a two-player game of Primates. I'm not going to do a full rules teach, but I will cover enough of the rules before we get started to give you a really good idea of how the game plays. Primates is a roll and move resource management game for 1 to 4 players, plays in about an hour. Don't let the roll and move mechanism deter you from considering this game. It is well implemented and there are plenty of interesting decisions to make in this game. In Primates, you are moving your primates up the branches of a tree, claiming food and discovering extinct primates along the way. Waiting at the top of each branch is a different extant primate species that will earn you points and grant you one-time abilities that will help you outmaneuver your opponents, earn the most points, and win the game. Let's go down to the table where I'm pretty much set up for a 2-player game of Primates. Alright, here we are pretty much set up for a 2-player game of Primates. This game does not currently have a solo mode, so I will be playing two-handed. And what you see here is the main board, and it represents 2 things at the same time. The middle picture here represents 2 things at the same time. One, it's representing the evolutionary history of primates through the use of a phylogenetic tree, and it is also going to be a tree that our primates are going to climb up throughout the game. So you can see we have the base of our phylogenetic tree down here with the wet-nosed monkeys first to split off, followed by the tarsiers, the New World monkeys. Up here we have the Old World monkeys going down one branch, and the great apes and gibbons down the other branch, 2 distinct lineages there. We have a few different types of cards that we're going to be working with throughout the game. We have our bonus cards on the left, extinct primates on the right, extant primates in the bottom row here, and abilities up above that. And then this is our environment deck. Our environment deck is split up in a 2-player game so that we have 2 cards in between each of these round cards. So we're going to be playing over 10 rounds. There is an option to play a longer game, and you can find those rules online. I'll provide a link down in the description. But we're going to be playing a normal 10-round game for 2 players. The number of rounds varies depending on the number of players. And so at the end of each player's turn, they will draw one of these environment cards, and that will count us down. So these are used to place food throughout our tree that our primates, our climbing primates, represented by these tokens down here, will collect as they go up. And the reason they want to collect food is that is going to allow us to claim these extinct primates. So I'm going to turn up the top card of each of these 3 decks, and I'm going to take these extinct primate tokens and take a look at this alphanumeric code in the bottom left and place one of these tokens on the corresponding spot on the tree. So we have S6, P6, and S1. I'm also going to turn up the top bonus card of each of these 3 decks so we can see what they are. And as well, we're going to turn up the top card of each of these extant primate groups. We're not going to turn up the top card of the abilities. However, I do want to point out that the ability decks do not need to be shuffled. Everything else gets shuffled, but not the ability decks. And that is because, as you can see here, at the bottom of each of these extant primate cards is 1 or 2 abilities. So for instance, on this pygmy slow loris, we have venom and grooming claw. And so if we collect that pygmy slow loris, we would look through here, and I believe I've put these in alphabetical order. So we would collect venom and grooming claw, and it'll tell you a little bit about those. So these do not need to be shuffled. In fact, I recommend putting them in alphabetical order. We also have our dice down here. They're 6-sided dice, but they are numbered 1 through 3. So each of those numbers is represented twice on each die. And we are playing as the orangutan and the sifaka. I love sifakas. If you have never seen sifakas springing or bouncing, I forget what they call it, you should look up some YouTube videos on that. It's pretty awesome. The 2 other options for player boards would be a bush baby and a marmoset. But these were actually 2 colors that showed up very well on the main board, so those are the ones I chose. A little bit I chose the sifaka because I like the sifakas. All right. So let's see, we have done all of our setup. We have our food tokens across the top here, and these are representing, our green food tokens represent leaves and algae. Our orange food tokens represent fruits, nuts, and seeds. Our brown food tokens represent animal foods such as insects and meat, and our yellow food tokens represent exudates, the substances secreted by plants or insects such as nectar, tree gum, and the honeydew that you would get off of aphids. These are wild food tokens, the exudate food tokens. For each of the players, they will have 3 player tokens that are going to move up this tree, and we each place a heart on the 0 space of the heart track that goes along the bottom here. The player who goes last in turn order is going to collect an exudate token, and I randomly determined that to be the orangutan before we got started here. So the orangutan is going second, the sifaka is going to go first, so they get the first player marker here. In a 3 or 4 player game, the players in the middle of turn order would start with an orange food token, and then the last player to go would still start with an exudate food token. The rule book tells you to put the bonus cards on the left side here, the ability cards on the right. We are going to put our extinct primate cards here and our extant primate cards in this column here. However, I don't have enough room to have my bonus cards going here, so I'm going to put my bonus cards across the top. I think there's enough room for that. We'll figure it out. Or I might put the bonus cards off to the right and maybe put the ability cards up top. That might make more sense. So on our turn, we are going to perform one of 3 different actions. We are either going to do solitary movement, where we choose one of our markers and move it up the tree according to a die roll, or we can do group movement, where we move each of the 3 different markers up the tree corresponding to our die roll, or we can choose to rest, in which case we will simply draw one of these bonus cards. Now, I have to say, going into this, I was a little bit nervous that it was roll to move because, that doesn't have a great reputation as being an interesting mechanism, but I have to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. We all were. When we played this. Me and my partner and our son played this a few Saturdays ago and really enjoyed it, actually, but I don't want to spoil the review, so I'll give you more details about my thoughts at the end of the video. At the end of each player's turn, they're going to draw an environment card, and like I said, usually these will be putting food, or I think always they put food onto the board. I think there's one, if I remember correctly, there's one that doesn't do that. I think it refreshes the bonus cards. If we have ability cards, we can play as many of those as we want during our turn. And likewise, as long as we are on a space that corresponds to this bottom left alphanumeric code, and we have the food to pay for it, so in this case 2 green and 1 orange, we would be able to take an extinct primate card. We would turn in our food tokens and then put that on our board. But we do have to be on the space that is shown in the bottom left corner there. Once we get up to the top of any of these lineages, any of these branches on the tree, we will collect the extant primate that's at the top and any abilities that go with it. Our points are going to come from these extant primates, extinct primates, and bonus cards. Now, most of the bonus cards give points in the top right corner here. Some of them also give abilities right away, or maybe they all do. I haven't seen all of them yet. And some of them actually have end of game scoring also down in the bottom here. So the way that movement works is we have 3 dice. If we're going to do solitary movement, where we just move one of our animal tokens, one of our primate tokens up the tree, we're only going to roll 2 of those dice. We're going to add them together and move that many spaces up whichever branch we're on. If we want to do group movement, we would roll all 3 dice, and each die would be assigned to one of your tokens. All right, let's get started. So Sifaka is going first, and they are going to do a group movement and move all of the primate tokens, Sifaka tokens. 3 3s, that's awesome. Okay, so I am going to move up this branch because we do have an extinct primate up that branch. So 1, 2, 3. No food yet on the board. I did ask the designer about this, and it was play tested. They did say if you wanted to, you could start with food on the board, but that the way that it was play tested, that this worked out best. So I'm just going to stick with the rules as written, and no food on the board to start. All right, so then we're going to move another 3. Let's see, let's go 1, 2, 3 for that guy, and then let's move this guy up here so that we have some choices. All right, so we have done our group movement. I will tell you right away, it is easy to forget to turn over the environment cards. And so the way you can check yourself is, first of all, you can always count, right, turns, but the first player will always be turning over the round card. We'll always be removing the round card. So here is our environment card. It is a katydid. It says tamarins are known to eat katydids such as Cycloptera speculata. This species uses leaf mimicry to help avoid detection by predators. I actually saw a katydid in our backyard last summer. It was pretty cool. All right, so it's directing us to put a brown food cube on P3. Which is the spot that I'm on, but I do not get that food cube. I have to pick it up when I land on a space, and so I don't get that food cube now because I've already landed there. So too late, too bad. All right, orangutan's turn. They're doing group movement as well, and we have a 1, a 2, and a 2. I think they're going to move 1 here just in case. They might collect enough food to get that extinct primate. That's this one here. They would actually need a lot of food, but we'll see how it goes. And then we have 2 2s. So let's see. Let's move 1, 2 here. You know, I think they're going to go up this branch and not compete with the Sophocas just in case. So they'll be able to commandeer any food that maybe is up that branch. All right, that was the orangutan's turn. They're going to turn over an environment card. We have Eladia procera, is a spiny shrub eaten by multiple lemur species. The specific name, procera, means tall. So it's a tall spiny shrub. And it is directing us to put a green food cube on S4. Ooh, I might be able to get that one. That would be great. It is now Sophoca's turn. So Sophoca is going to go. And we got 2 1s and a 2. Again, if I wanted to do solitary movement, I would only roll 2 dice. So if I'm planning group movement, I roll 3 dice. And I will move this guy 1 so I can pick up this green food cube. So that's that one. And then let's see. Let's move this guy just 1. And we'll go up 2 with this Sophoca over here. Go up the Old World Monkeys branch for 2, and then we're going to turn over our environment cards. And Bakerella clavata is a member of the showy mistletoes family. It is a food source for many lemur species. I wonder if it is also a parasitic plant. I know mistletoes in North America are parasitic. They grow on other plants, but I don't know about this one. Probably they all are. I'll look it up and let you know. Anyway, we're going to put a green food cube on S7 up here. There we go. And that was Sophoca, so now it is orangutan's turn. And they got a 2, a 3, and a 2. So let's see. We can't go backwards, so I can't go back down the tree. You can't de-evolve and go back down the tree and climb up a different branch. So that's unfortunate. You can occupy the same space as another player. So I could do that. What do I want to do? I don't know if I want to compete with them up that branch. I think I am going to come up this way. Now, even though there is an extinct primate up there, P6, and it actually doesn't require very much food. Oh, and it is worth 6 points. But you know, I'm thinking the Sophoca might be able to, oh, they won't be able to get it though. Yeah, we're gonna stick with it, don't overthink it. So they were here and they moved 2. So then who's gonna move 3? I'm gonna move this one 2 because they might be able to get enough food to get S6, the Paleopropithecus. And let's see, move this guy 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, and that was the orangutan, so we'll turn over our environment card. Bactris setosa. Golden lion tamarins eat the fruits of the spiny palm, Bactris setosa. Love the artwork on these cards. It's lovely. I know the primate artwork was inspired by true photos of primates. I'm not sure about, I'm sure this is also true for all of them, actually. It seems like that would be easiest. I am not an artist. I struggle with stick figures, so I probably shouldn't try and guess what artists do. But anyway, we need to put 2 orange cubes on P6. Ooh, what does that need? It needs an orange and a brown. It's too bad I wasn't able to get that one. Oh well. Now it is Safaka's turn. So actually this might be a time when I do solitary movement, because that comes with food, part of which I need to claim this. Or maybe let's take a look at these bonus cards. I'm just gonna, I know these aren't the right numbers. I'm just gonna put these here because just to remember it was my turn. So let's take a look at these bonus cards. We have Strengthened Animal Welfare Act, ? In the United States, the Animal Welfare Act is the main federal law regulating the treatment of animals in research and exhibitions, I don't know why that was so hard, such as zoos. The law plays a crucial role in setting some minimal standards, but the law specifically excludes many animals from protection and has a number of other loopholes and limitations. Many animal welfare experts recommend updating this law to make it stronger. Anyway, this one gives me, here's a lightning bolt for immediate action. It does let me move 1 on the heart track, and it would give me 2 points at the end of the game. Humane legislator. Humane legislators are needed to pass stronger laws to protect animals. Ooh, that one gives me 2 hearts, but no points at the end of the game. But the heart points are interesting. So first it jumps to 4, but then it goes up by 3, and then just up by 2. And then up by 1. So the first one is worth the most points, and then 2 more spaces worth, slightly less. And as you make it further up the heart track, you have less incentive. This one, alternatives to animal testing. Humans experiment on tens of millions of animals every year. Many experiments cause unimaginable suffering. Some scientists are working on new methodologies which have the potential to not only spare animals from harm, but also be more effective in addressing human health. So anyway, we can either get 2 points and an immediate heart, or 2 hearts, or I could do a solitary movement. And I think I'm going to take a bonus card, and I think I'm just going to go for the low-hanging fruit of 2 immediate hearts. So I will move my white one. I'm kind of identifying with the Safaka, so I'm treating the orangutan as the AI, but I'm really playing a 2-handed game, so there's no AI, there's no solo mode. I am going to put my bonus cards over here to the right because they're tall. They're too tall for this spot here. Normally they would go on the left, but we just don't have space. Put that there. I moved my 2 hearts. Turn over this bonus card right away. And now we have a fig wasp. Fig wasps are super cool. Oh, which allows you to pay a brown food cube to take 2 orange food cubes. That's pretty cool. Okay. Now it is the end of Safaka's turn. Ooh, sunrise. Refresh all 3 bonus cards by moving the top card to the bottom of each deck and then flip the next card face up. So these go to the bottom of the deck and we flip the next one for each of these. Bye-bye, fig wasp. That was a good card too. Oh well. You cannot be assured that those will stick around. Now, there's not a ton of sunrise cards, but there are a few. And, since this was shuffled, no idea when we're going to run into them. All right, here we go. That was Safaka's turn, so now it is orangutan's turn. And we get 2 1s and a 3. Oh, I should have seen, do they want to do group movement? Well, I guess I already rolled the dice, so too late. They do have some food. 2 1s and a 3. I guess let's move this one up 3 so we can collect the central chimpanzee, and then we'll move each of the other ones just 1 so we can be on the same space as another player. It's totally fine. And we'll move that one up 1. Okay, so we are collecting the central chimpanzee. So it will be worth 3 points to us at the end of the game, and it allows us to collect the culture ability. So we'll put that over on our board, and we're in the Great Apes. So remember, we don't shuffle the ability cards. They're just, I put them in alphabetical order, actually, which I totally recommend. All right, so let's see what culture says. Culture Just as some human cultures use forks, others use chopsticks, local cultural differences exist among chimpanzees in how they fish for termites. So this allows us to copy the power of an ability card on another player's mat. So not genetically determined behaviors, they're learned through social interaction and by observing each other, just the same as we do, right? So now we're going to turn over the top Great Apes card there for our Growler's Gorilla. And then this orangutan is going to move down to the base of the tree. And now we are going to turn over our environment card, and we have Piper aduncum. Siamangs eat the leaves of the spiked pepper tree, Piper aduncum. The specific name aduncum means hooked. Oh, you can see that on the, I forget what that part of the plant is called, but at the base of the leaves there, maybe that's where it gets its name from, because it looks like that part's hooked, or there's a hook there. Anyway, there's their pepper tree. We are to put a green food cube on Y5 up here. Now it is Safaka's turn. Woo. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Not a chance to get, well, we could, let's do this. We can move this one 2 and collect these 2 orange food cubes. And then let's move this little guy 1, because we're still holding hope for S6, although that requires 2 greens and an orange. I do have 1 green and 2 oranges, and 3 for this guy. So we are collecting the mandrill, which will be worth 3 points to us at the end of the game, and it allows us to collect the ability Bright Colors. So, Bright Colors. It says the bright colors of a male mandrill may attract females or convey status, and this allows us to discard any additional ability card without using its abilities to move 1 on the heart track. Something interesting about mandrills is those really bright colors, the red and the blue, are structural colors. So the red, so not caused by pigments. I mean, I guess the red is indirectly caused by pigments because it's from blood vessels being just below the surface of the skin. But the blue is actually caused by the arrangement of keratin in that part of their face, and then their rear ends are also very colorful. And so it's kind of like the structural colors of blue bird feathers. So it depends on the way the light hits it to give that color. Anyway, now the Safaka is going to turn over an environment card. Ooh, we get 2 different food cubes on 2 different spaces. Ficus natalensis. Chimpanzees eat the fruits of Ficus natalensis, and western red colubuses eat the leaves. Interesting. All right, so we want an orange food cube on H6 and a green food cube on C6. So H6 and a green on C6 over here. All right, it is now orangutan's turn. Oh, this guy goes back down to the bottom, and we turn over our next card. We have red-shanked Duke or Dauk. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce that. All right, orangutan's turn. Let's see, what are they going to do? They have 1 exudate food. This guy's at the base of the tree. This guy's coming up on S6, which would require 3 foods. He's going to need a bunch more food. Maybe we should just still do, well, what's over here for our bonus cards? What do we have? We have China. China is the home of dozens of primate species. This gives us endgame points, so we do get the 4 points automatically. And then we get 2 points for each of the following. So specifically, Pygmy slow loris, which actually is showing, Cowvit crested gibbon, probably saying that wrong. Oh man, these are all hard to pronounce. Gaulagong Hulak gibbon, please forgive my pronunciation. Hainan gibbon and golden snub-nosed monkey. So I don't see any more of those, but the color coding says it would be 3 from the gibbons, 1 from the wet-nosed primates, and 1 from the old world monkeys. And then also Gigantopithecus, Archicebus, not showing, Xanthorisis, not showing, and Junzi. So those would be endgame points. Let's see what the army ants say. Several marmoset species are known to follow swarms of army ants to pick off insects fleeing the swarm. And it would allow us to immediately double the brown food on any one space. That doesn't really help us too much. Chittle deer, pronounced cheetle, like to hang around gray langur monkeys because the langurs often drop fruit that the deer feed on. The langur's alarm calls also warn the deer of dangerous predators. That's kind of a fun interaction. We can pay an orange food to take an extra bonus card. I don't think they want any of that, so they're just going to do a group movement. All right. We got 2 2s and a 1. So let's move, let's see, no 1. Let's move 2 for that one. And see, the Sifaka could get 3 and get that, but let's start working our way up this branch with 2 because we could choose to go up one of these branches if the Sifaka takes that food. And so this one will move 1 and collect this Wallace's tarsier. And we get to collect the leaping trait. So put that up there and get the leaping trait. Oh, I think that's all they have, actually, the tarsiers. Leap from tree to tree. What does it say? Tarsiers use a form of locomotion known as vertical clinging and leaping. Look at that tail. They probably use that a little bit for balance. They may be prehensile, I don't know. When moving one of your primates, don't count spaces where there's another primate, just leap over them. That's kind of cool. All right, so that comes up here. We have to remember we have these. The chimpanzee lets us copy the power of an ability card on another player's mat. And then we turn over our environment card. Oh, and let's turn that over and move this one down here. Okay, our environment card. Ooh, that's beautiful. Birdwing butterfly. Tarsiers eat birdwing butterflies in the genus Troides. And it's going to put a brown food cube on T3 up there. Right, that was the orangutan. So I think the Sifaka is definitely going to do the group movement, and they're really hoping. So let's see, this one is on P6 right now, which is here. If I got a brown food cube, which I could get either here or here, that would allow me to claim Xenothrix. I am 1 away from S1. Which requires I need a brown food cube to claim that. That one's worth 7 points. And then I'm 1 away from S6, which I could sneak right under the nose of the orangutan. And, well, I would need a green food cube for that. And that's not going to happen if I do group movement. So let's do group movement. Maybe we can get a brown food cube and claim Xenothrix. Right, 1, a 3, and a 2. Yes, so let's move this Sifaka 3 and collect that brown food cube. And then before we move our next Sifaka, this one is on P6, and that is going to allow us to claim Xenothrix. I'm pretty sure I can do this at any point in my turn. Let me double check. You may acquire an extinct primate card at any time during your turn as long as you meet the requirements. So perfect. We are going to claim Xenothrix by turning in 1 orange and 1 brown food cube. And we're going to put that in our extinct column, and that's going to give us 6 points at the end of the game. Let's see what this says. Xenothrix, I can't talk today. McGregori was a Jamaican monkey most likely related to TT monkeys. It's so cute. Anyway, there's our extinct. We got our first one. We're going to turn this over. All right, and now I still have to move this one. So this now moves to H5. Let's see, what do we have left? A 1 and a 2. What's that? S6. 2 green. I still have a hope for that eventually, so let's just move this 1. All right, and this one 2. They don't have to move it exact. And so this Sifaka is going to collect this white-faced capuchin, which will give me 3 points at the end of the game and gives me the fun-sounding abilities Oh, I can tell you about Overlord. This is really fun. And social games. So Overlord and social games. There's Overlord and social games. So Overlord is really fun. It's where, see how they're stacking their heads up on top of each other to make themselves look bigger, I think. It says capuchin monkeys often stack on top of one another to demonstrate aggression. This is known as the Overlord position. When I first read this, it was not accompanied by a picture, and I pictured several capuchin monkeys, like stacked up on top of each other, kind of like Yertle the turtle. That's not the way it works. Of all the pictures I found, it's usually just two. Sometimes there'll be a third one, but they're more making like a triangle type shape. Anyway, this gives me the ability of, if your primate is within 2 spaces of another player's primate, you may push their primate sideways to another space with the same number. That's kind of mean. Social games. Capuchins play social games such as the hair in mouth game, which involves passing hair back and forth with their mouths. These games appear to be traditions specific to particular communities. So this would be another example of culture, right? This gives me the ability of, when taking the rest action, that's when I collect a bonus card, discard an additional ability card to move 1 on the heart track. That's pretty good. All right, that was the Sifaka. This moves down to the bottom now, and we turn over, I think we've done all the things, we turn over the next environment card. Sunrise. That means that we are going to refresh the bonus cards. So we have here Botanist, which lets us double the green food cubes on any space and gives us a whopping 5 points at the end of the game. Hugs. That's awesome. 3 points at the end of the game. Hugging among male muriquis is believed to be particularly important in reducing aggression. Oh, this is fun. It gives you a movement on the heart track and the player to the right. I mean, not fun if you're being highly competitive, but nice to have a little bit of positive social interaction there. And then Parkia pendula, Midas tamarins eat the sticky gum exuded from the seed pods of Parkia pendula. Allows us to turn 1 orange food cube into 2 exudate food tokens, and gives us 3 points at the end of the game. All right, that was the Sifaka's environment card, and now it is the orangutan's turn. Let's see, they only have 1 food. So this one is here on the S6 space. This exudate can count for any food. And so we would just need either 2 green or a green and an orange. Not likely to get that this turn, and it would be really nice to collect that green cube. This orangutan does have the ability, if we roll a 3, to reach this cube, and this one could reach that brown cube. So let's do group movement. That's great. All right, we're only going to be able to get 1 of those food cubes that required 3 movement. So for sure, this one is going to move 2 and collect that green food cube. And then, because remember, S6 required 3 food cubes, so there's no way to get that on this turn. So the question is, do we want to come up here and grab that food cube? Or do we want to, 1, 2, 3, come here and collect the green? I think what we're going to do is collect this brown food cube, because the Sifaka could reach that one, but they can't. Yeah, they can't reach that one. So we will collect this one and steal it under the nose of the Sifaka. So the brown food cube, and then that leaves us a 2. So we could either move up to P4, or we could move to C4 or A4. Let's move up here to A4. That kind of gives us a lot of different options. All right, and that, oh no, so we're going to collect this Pygmy Slow Loris, which has the abilities of Venom and Grooming Claw. Venom and Grooming Claw. Venom and Grooming Claw. So this says, slow lorises emit a venomous substance that can be deadly. I actually have some additional facts about that, but let me make it through this and I'll tell them to you. If your primate is on the same space as another player's primate, you may push their primate back to the starting area. Ooh, that is mean. Okay, that was our orangutan. And then grooming claw. Strepsirini primates have a grooming claw. So you can see it here in this picture. Here we go. You can see the grooming claw. And they use that for personal grooming, as you might suspect. It allows us to refresh all 3 bonus cards. And we can do that once or twice on the same turn. So what I found out about the venom of pygmy slow lorises is that they have these glands in their upper arm that produce the venom. And when that is combined with enzymes in their saliva, that it causes their bites to be extra painful and can cause allergic reactions and can make the wound very slow to heal. Because it's not a fast-acting venom, they don't use this for attacking. But instead, they actually use it in territorial disputes with each other. And then they also groom themselves with the venom to ward off parasites, which I found particularly interesting because part of my background is studying parasites. And then this also warns predators to stay away, so it must have some sort of a smell to it. All right, that was the orangutan's turn. They need to turn over their environment card. We have Genipa, not sure which. Americana is a member of the coffee family, Rubiaceae. The fruits are eaten by capuchins and howler monkeys, and it's telling us to put an orange food cube on P4. Oh, right in front of our Sifaka. That's great. This orangutan is going to move down to the base of the tree, and now it is our Sifaka's turn. So let's think about this. We do have some abilities. We could discard an additional ability card to claim a heart. This allows us to do that, but only when taking the rest action. And this says if your primate is within 2 spaces of another player's primate, you may push their primate sideways. Yet I'm not currently within 2 spaces of another primate. So let's just, and do I want any of the bonus cards? I do have an orange food cube. That would allow me to turn it in for 2 exudate food. And that is fantastic. Because it would let me get a 6, and that's worth 8 points. Let's take the rest action and do that. So I am taking the rest action as Sifaka. Just put those over there. And I'm going to take this Parkia pendula that allows me to immediately, that's the lightning symbol, turn in an orange food cube, which I have right here, to get, is that going to work? To get 2 exudate. Yep, it's going to work. 2 of these wild foods, these exudate tokens. And then this will be worth 3 points at the end of the game. So put that over there with my other bonus card, and then we immediately turn that over. And we get leaf mimicry, which I think we already saw on our, didn't we see that on one of our first environment cards? Yeah, our Katie did. All right. So that's it. We just took that. Taking a bonus card. I didn't even look at these other ones. I was so excited about that one. This one allows me to double the green food on any one space. I certainly don't want to do that because that might not benefit me. And that one gives hearts to everybody. Okay, so that was Sifaka's turn. So they are now going to do their environment card. And I got, ooh, that's a cool looking butterfly. Blanchard's Ghost. Tarsiers eat a variety of insects, such as the Blanchard's Ghost butterfly, Idea blanchardi. This is going to put 2 brown food tokens on T7. 2 brown food tokens. Oh, and the orangutan's going up that. Okay, well that was Sifaka's turn. It is now the, oh wait, no, we're not done. Whew, we're on S6, right? And that was why we did this, because we want to claim Paleopropithecus. Paleopropithecus is a genus of sloth-like lemurs who went extinct after humans arrived in Madagascar. Oh, that's sad. We are good at that. We are quite accomplished. That will focus. Yeah, we are quite accomplished at extincting species. So that was our Sifaka. So that's going to go there. Oh, that's their second. You got some catching up to do, orangutan. We're going to have to take a look at your bonus cards. So now this gets turned over, and we have Egyptopithecus, and this goes to C3. Costs 3. Oh, and I have to give up. That one was 2 green and an orange. So here's my 2 green and an orange. I gave up all my food cubes. So that, did I pay? Yeah, I did. I must have, because I don't have a brown food cube. Okay. Well, if I didn't, I guess I'll catch it in editing. There we go. Okay, so there's my Sifaka. And that was Sifaka's turn. Now it's orangutan's turn. They've got some catching up to do. So let's take a look at where they're at and what abilities they have. Let's take a look at these abilities. We can refresh the bonus cards once or twice. We can, if we're on the same space as another player, we're not, so we won't look at that. Leaping, we can leap over other players. That might come in handy to steal that food, so let's take that, keep that in mind. And then culture, copy the power of an ability card on another player's mat. Oh, we might do that. Let's see. This makes us, Venom makes us be on another space, same space. This might be more useful if we had more players, but with only 2 players, this doesn't seem to be happening very often. So you know what? I might copy, I'm going to use culture. That's appropriate and thematic. We're going to use culture to discard Venom. So this says discard an additional ability card to move 1 up the heart track. So orangutan is going to move 1 up the heart track. Did I move to? Yep, I did. That's where I'm supposed to be. Just making sure I'm not cheating. Okay, so right now Sifaka's on the second heart here and orangutan's on the first, and we're discarding both of these. We'll just put these up here. All right, and remember we have leaping. We're going to do group movement, and if we get a 3, we're going to move this orangutan up here to steal that food cube from in front of the Sifaka. Haha, we did get a 3. All right, so we are going to use leaping. 1, 2, we're going to leap over the Sifaka. Imagining an orangutan leaping is kind of funny, but there you go. They're probably quite agile, actually. So now we have lots of food. So let's discard leaping. And are we currently on? Oh, let's put the 3 next to there. We are not currently on a space with an extinct primate. So let's see, can we get there? What is H5? Requires 3 orange and a brown, which we don't have, and I don't think we can get, but we could hang out there. Too bad we can't collect that orange. Well, we could collect that orange, but then we would be past that spot. We can't get that or that currently. So this one, I guess we're just going to move this one 2, and we'll move this one 1. There. So he's just hanging out, maybe to claim, let's see, H5, Coropithecus. All right, so maybe he'll be able to get that. So I just want to take a moment. So that was orangutan's turn. We still need to turn over our environment card. I just want to take a moment to point out, and I'll talk more about this hopefully in my review, but I think now's a good time to mention it. This is a roll to move game, but I hope that you have seen that there are still plenty of decisions to make because you still are deciding what branch of the tree to go up, which of your primates to move, and sort of planning ahead for food and for collecting or claiming these extinct primates, which are always going to be worth quite a lot of points, more points than the ones up here, but that doesn't mean that you don't want to try to race to the top, of course, to get the extant primates, because 2 of those is going to be pretty much the same points as an extinct one, although Coropithecus is 11 points. That's great. And then certainly the bonus cards are worth, we didn't take a look at this, leaf mimicry allows us to sort of swap brown and green cubes. You can do one or the other. Okay, so we did all our movement. We collected our food. We're hanging out here maybe to collect claim Coropithecus, which is worth 11 points. So that is significant. So let's turn over our environment card. Piptodenia goacantha. The leaves of Piptodenia goacantha, are eaten by howler monkeys, and it's having us put a green food cube on P3. Green on, where's P3? Right here. So again, I'm there, but I'd have to land on it to collect it, and so I don't get to collect that food cube, which is unfortunate, but there you have it. All right, now it is Sifaka's turn, and we could discard ability cards to move up the heart track. If we are within 2 spaces of another player's primate, I can push them sideways to another space with the same number. We are, but that doesn't really do us any good. I don't think, although that brown howler's worth 4 points. If there was food up here, I would probably consider doing that. I might hang on to that for just that situation. I will point out that at the end of the game, I don't think that these ability cards are worth anything, but food is actually worth one point each, I think. I'll have to look that up. Okay, so we're going to do, I think, group movement, because I don't have any food cubes, so I can't really do that. And doubling the green food on any one space is not going to do me any good. So group movement, 2 3s and a 1. So let's see. This one could come up here and steal that green food, but I can also come up here and that'll move me to the base of the tree, in which case I could maybe get that on a different turn. Because I'm not sure I want to go up that branch. I kind of want to go that way. Let's see. C3 is Egyptopithecus. Requires 3 orange fruits and nuts. And this one, S1, requires 1 of each. Notharctus, this one's 7 points, that one's 8 points. So maybe we do have food cubes up here. Green food, that's needed for Notharctus, which is here. Oh man. Yeah, let's just go for it. Let's come here and get that. No. Oh man. Okay, let's come here. And we'll move 3 and hang out here at C3, and maybe we'll be able to get it. I don't think so, but at least there's some food up these branches. And do we want to move 1 or 3? 2, 3. No, I'm just going to move 1 and stay in the same place as that guy. And then we'll put our 3 here. Remember, we don't need exact. Oops, I didn't even turn that over. It's a gray mouse lemur. They're adorable. And that's going to give us cantilevering and honeydew. So our gray mouse lemur. I just want you to see this picture. It's pretty awesome. Now it's focused. Pretty awesome picture. Like I said, all these pictures were modeled on real photographs of real primates. So anyway, we get cantilevering and honeydew. Cantilevering, honeydew. Let's read about these. So honeydew, as a byproduct of feeding on plant sap. Oh, I didn't know this. Okay, I do know this. As a byproduct of feeding on plant sap, plant hopper insects excrete a sugary substance known as honeydew. Aphids do the same thing. Several mouse lemur species feed on this sweet substance, which provides them with an important source of calories. Okay, now I need to know how not big mouse lemurs are, so I'm going to look that up, because you have to be awfully tiny to be able to take advantage of. Plant hoppers are not big bugs. Can't remember what order they're in, but they're pretty cool looking. So it says that mouse lemurs are tiny primates, so we knew that was going to be true, from 4.7 to 5.5 inches, or if you would rather do centimeters, 12 to 14 centimeters in length, not including the tail, which can add another 13 to 15 centimeters. They typically weigh 1.4 to 2.5 ounces, or 40 to 70 grams. So yes, they are tiny, which means that they can take advantage of the honeydew from these plant hoppers. So it's pretty cool. Cantilevering says some primates can cantilever, where they extend their bodies horizontally. A good picture of that behavior. And then the abilities these give me. So cantilevering says for one of your primates that is not at the top of the tree, take all food from a sideways space with the same number but a different letter. That's awesome. Can't currently take advantage of that. Yes, I could. Ooh, I might do that. Okay, so that's cantilevering. And then the honeydew allows us to trade, a brown food token for 2 exudate food tokens. I'm going to capture, let's see, what does this say? If your primate is within 2 spaces of another, you may push them sideways to another space with the same number. Oh, I might do that. Let's do that. Oh, and then I might do the other one too. Let's do Overlord. You can use these at any point in your turn. So this Sifaka is within 2 spaces of this orangutan. I don't want that orangutan to get that food. I would like to get that food. Plus they're hanging out here on H5, which they could almost get. And so let's use Overlord. If your primate is within 2 spaces of another player's primate, you may push their primate sideways to another space with the same number. They're currently on H5, let's put them on P5. So that was using overlords. So we are done with that. And then let's see, the cantilevering. For one of your primates that is not at the top of the tree, take all food from a sideways space with the same number but a different letter. I want to do that on just one green food, or do I want to wait? I think I'm going to wait. Maybe I'll get to the... Oh, look! This Sifaka is up here at S7, and that's going to let me steal this food from T7 from that orangutan. So yeah, because it says, for example, a primate on P6 could take all the food from one of these spaces. So S6, T6, H6, Y6, or C6. So we're going to use cantilevering for this Sifaka to steal these 2 brown food cubes. And if I were playing with my partner right now, they would be like, oh, why'd you do that? So there you go. So that was Sifaka's turn. They're going to turn over their environment card. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we'll hang on to that. We'll hang on to the honeydew. Okay, so their environment card, durian fruit. Oh, I have a story about that. Orangutans eat a variety of durian fruits, such as Durio cutugensis, which allows us to put an orange food cube on H7. Oh, I'm so glad I knocked him out of there. That's great. So, durian fruit story. I was at a conference or a meeting, and maybe it was a workshop. I think it was at a workshop in Toronto. And we went to a restaurant. I want to say it was Thai. It was a type of Asian food. And they had durian milkshakes. And I thought, well, I'll try one. I had heard that durians smell really bad but taste really good. I'm not sure how that works because I know that smell is a really big part of taste. That turns out to be true. I did not enjoy my durian milkshake. So if you have had an experience with durian fruit, I would love to hear about it because it's supposed to be some sort of delicacy or something highly sought after. Anyway, would love to hear about your durian fruit adventures. So we put our orange cube on H7, and that is the end of Sifaka's turn. So now let's go to orangutan. They still have grooming claw, which allows them to refresh the bonus cards, which they might do because Sifaka pushing this guy over was really a horrible situation. Although brown howler's worth 4 points, and that's quite a lot for an extant. Oh, I didn't turn this over. That's quite a lot for an extant primate. Sifaka also moves down to the bottom. So let's see. They are no longer on an extinct primate spot, and they would like to be. So maybe they need to do group movement because this Sifaka, so it's on C3, is not going to be able to get that, I don't think. Well, they might actually because they have this honeydew ability. And then there's H5. They're not going to be able to get both of those because that would just be too much food. This Corypithecus requires quite a lot. And here's S1. So maybe what needs to happen is the orangutan needs to race to the top of the tree to come back down here to the bottom. There is a bunch of food over here that this one Sifaka is not going to be able to get. We do have another Sifaka down here though. And maybe they can race the Sifakas to maybe Corypithecus because they actually have an orange and a brown and an exudate. So they just need one more orange or an exudate to be able to claim Corypithecus. So orangutan is going to do the group movement action. Oh, yikes. 2 1s and a 3. So how do we want to do this? Let's use our 2. Oh, we only have 1 3. So we're going to use this 3 to come up here and claim the brown howler. And then each of the other 2 is then going to move just 1. And again, putting the dice next to the ones you move really does help you keep track because you sometimes are doing things in the middle of your turn, and so that's very helpful. So we will claim this brown howler. That'll give us 4 points at the end of the game and gives us the howling ability. So let's see what that does. I have a friend who went down to, I think it was Costa Rica, and told me about hearing the howler monkeys down there and how absolutely amazing that was. If you have had that experience, tell us about it in the comments. I would love to hear about it. That would be a really fun experience. Anyway, here's what it says. Howling. Howler monkeys' howls can be heard for miles through the rainforest. The howling may help with protecting territory. And this gives us the ability of, if your primate is within 3 spaces of another player's primate, you may push their primate sideways to another space with the same number. Oh, that was an ability that we just had. Was that a howling ability? that allowed us to do that? If you're primate, oh no, overlord let us do that too. That we had to be within 2 spaces. This one we only have to be within 3 spaces. So let's take a look and see if maybe we can upset what's going on here. So do they want to push this guy sideways? I don't think so. Not really. There's no food up here. It doesn't really do them any good to push them sideways. What's coming up here? Bolivian TT, which gives tail twining. Yeah, I don't think they're going to use that yet. They're going to save that. Ooh, whoops, howling goes up here. Sorry, that was orangutans. I hope I haven't done that. I guess I'll catch it in editing. I don't think I've done that before. Let's make sure. We have social games, bright colors, and honeydew. Yeah, okay, we're good. That's the danger of playing two-handed. All right, so that was orangutan. Are they done with their turn? They just have to turn over their environment card. This comes down here, and everybody else is done. So the environment card says Myrica rubra. Those look like yummy berries. Japanese macaques enjoy eating Myrica rubra. In Japan, it is commonly known as yamamomo, which means mountain peach. They do look tasty. And that's going to have us put an orange food cube on C6. Orange food cube. Oh, lovely. Look at that. There are 2 food cubes now on C6. That's fantastic. And the Sifaka is within 3. Okay, so it is Sifaka's turn. And so they do have this ability to turn a brown food cube into 2 exudates, and they can move up the heart track. I don't think we want to take the rest action. So I think we're just going to do group movement. Look at that, 3 3s. That's fantastic. Okay, so they're hanging out here. What does C3 wants? 3 orange food cubes. I can trade one of these for 2 exudates. So can I get an orange food cube? That's the question. Nope. I can get that green food cube though. So let's do that. Let's go 1, 2, 3 to collect that green food cube. And then I guess we will move this one, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to the top. We're going to claim that Bolivian TT. And then this one can go up the lineage for the Old World monkeys, or it can go up lineage for the great apes or the gibbons. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. Let's go here because that lets us get 2 food cubes. So we'll do that and collect those 2 food cubes. So that's great. We did bypass the opportunity at that time to claim Egyptopithecus, but maybe we'll get a second chance at that. So we are going to claim the Bolivian TT. That will give us the ability of tail twining. And let's see, tail twining. Again, I totally recommend just putting these in alphabetical order. Tail twining says TT monkeys often cuddle with their tails wrapped around each other. Oh my goodness, that is so adorable. When taking the rest action, this is the ability. When taking the rest action, discard an additional ability card to move one up the heart track. So that is the same ability as social games. So there we go. And we have done our movement. We claimed our New World monkey. We're going to turn that over. And oh my goodness, look at this picture of this pygmy marmoset. That is amazing. Okay, that's great. And we're going to move that Sifaka down to the bottom and turn over our environment card. I think we've done everything else. So we're going into 3 rounds remaining. I think I've been saying that wrong. 3 rounds remaining. Queen palm nut. Capuchins use stone tools to crack the nuts of many different palm trees, including the queen palm. It's hard to read. Cyagrus romanzaffiana. I think I'm saying that kind of right. Anyway, what I can tell you is it allows us to put an orange food cube on P4, which is right ahead of our Sifaka. So that is fantastic. So now it is orangutan's turn. And they need to catch up on some points. I am kicking their butt right now. Not on purpose. I need to catch them up. So what do they need? They've got, what do they have? They have howling. If I'm within 3 spaces of another player's primate, I can push them sideways. Is that going to do me any good? I could push, yes, let's do that. I think we want to push this one sideways so it doesn't get that orange food cube. certainly not over here. So they're on P3. I'm going to push them over to T3 and discard Howling. What does Grooming Claw do? Refresh the 3 bonus cards. Nope, we're going to move. We're going to try and get some of these extinct primates, especially Corypithecus, which is at H5. Corypithecus is what we're going for up here, so we're a little bit a ways away, but we only need to get 1 more orange food cube. We got 1, 2, and 3. So we are orangutan. Oh, this would put us up to C3. That's Egyptopithecus. We are trying to get, to H5. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3. So that's going to move that, and then I'll just make it easy and do 2 and 1. So we will claim this Macassar tarsier, which is going to give us leaping. I think all the tarsiers give you leaping. Yep. Which says when moving one of your primates, don't count spaces where there's another primate, just leap over them. So that is great. And then turn that over and move this orangutan to the base of the tree. And we're going to claim this awfully adorable pygmy marmoset, which is going to give us the ability of tree gouging. So tree gouging. And that ability, so tree gouging says some marmoset species engage in tree gouging to access tree gum. And it says discard an additional ability card, to claim an exudate token. That's actually awesome. So that's for our orangutan. And we reveal our next New World monkey and move this orangutan to the bottom. And we have our bearded capuchin. All right. Now they're going to turn over their environment card. I think they've done all the things. None of my abilities. I'm not. I am currently here. Can I claim C3? Did I get another food token? Discard another ability. Yes, we can do this. Do we want to do it now? I think we do, because C3, we don't want Safaka to get it, and they could if they land on it, because they can trade in a brown food token for 2 exudates. So let's actually... we have tree gouging, which says discard an additional ability card to gain an exudate. And we're not really interested in refreshing the bonus cards. They're not seeming to care too much. So they're going to discard Grooming Claw and tree gouging to get an exudate token. And that exudate token is going to allow them to claim Egyptopithecus. It says Egyptopithecus zeusis was an early Catarrhine primate who lived in Egypt about 30 million years ago during the Oligocene, worth 8 points at the end of the game. Their first extinct primate. That's fantastic. And now we reveal the next one, Titonius, and that is, we're going to put this token on T2, which goes right there, and it requires 2 brown. That could be good for Safaka, but it is only worth 5 points. So orangutan's not feeling too bad about that, because they got the 8-point extinct primate species. I think that's everything they want to do, and they're going to turn over their environment card. Cryptocarya. Indris are primarily folivorous and eat a wide variety of leaves, including those in the genus Cryptocarya. So we're going to put 2 green food tokens on S7. 2 green food tokens on S7. Okay, and now it is Safaka's turn. What are they going to do? They have ways to get hearts, and they can turn in a brown food token for 2 exudate tokens. Those are their abilities. So let's think about this. They're kind of racing up here to get these food tokens. It would be good to get to the top of here, because there's also 2 food tokens up that branch. Although the orangutan has 2 primate tokens down here at the base of the tree. We have T2, which only gives 5 points, but we do have the food cubes for that. And then S1, which is Notharctus, which gives 7 points, and we also have the food cubes for that. We can't reach H5. So yeah, let's do group movement. 1, 2, and 3. So I could go to either S1 or T2. T2 is worth 5 points. S1 is worth 7. So let's go there for 1 movement. And We'll use 3 movement for this Sifaka. 1, 2, 3 to get nearly to the top. And then this Sifaka, we only have 2 rounds remaining, so we really need to go after the points. All right, so this Sifaka is on S1. S1 requires 1 of each color food cube. So we have that. We don't even need to use our special ability. So we're going to turn those in and collect the S1 extinct species, Notharctus, which says Notharctus is a genus of early wet-nosed primates who lived about 50 million years ago during the Eocene epoch. Epic? You tell me in the comments. They had some similarities to present-day lemurs. Looks pretty big, actually. Notharctus. All right, and we turn over the next one. And Danuvius. Looks like a chimpanzee. Great ape from the Miocene. Ooh, that could hang in trees and walk on 2 legs. We're going to put this on H5. Oh, there's 2 of them on H5. What happens? I think that's okay if there's 2 of them on the same one. I'll look it up and let you know on the screen, but we're just going to leave it there for now. All right, it is now orangutan's turn. They are excited about all the food up here, excited about these extinct species. They do have some food cubes. They need to catch up on points. They really want to get Corypithecus, which they can get because they have 2 exudate tokens and an orange and a brown food cube. That is worth 11 points, which is fabulous. And then they've got these 2 at the base of the tree. So let's do that. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so definitely they're using the 2 to come up here. So they will take care of that in just a moment. And then we have a 1 and a 3. So I think 1 here and then the 3. 1, 2, 3. We do have leaping, so we could leap over 1, 2, 3 and collect that orange food cube, and then we wouldn't have to give up one of our exudate tokens. So let's do that. We have the leaping ability, so we're going to discard this ability card and use our 3 die. We're going to leap over that orangutan. 1, 2, 3. And collect that orange food cube. And now we're going to come back to this orangutan at H5 and claim Corypithecus. It says Corypithecus is an extinct great ape from Thailand who lived during the Miocene epoch. Epic. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I've always said epoch, but then somebody else I saw somewhere said, no, it's epic. That doesn't sound right to me. Anyway, they may have been related to orangutans. Certainly looks like it. So we have our 2 orange food cubes and a brown food cube, and then we're going to use one of our exudate tokens to collect that. They are catching up in points pretty quick. So they just needed a little time, that's all. So they're doing okay. So those were all their movements. We're going to turn over the next extinct primate, and we have Carteles P6 over here. Ooh, that's nice. 2 orange and a green. So we really want to get another orange because we do have this exudate token. That is the end of their turn. I think that's everything they can do. Yes, so they're gonna, did we skip, what just happened? I think that my Sifakas didn't turn over their, yep, I'm pretty sure my Sifakas didn't turn over their environment cards. So let's see if that would have made a difference. No, because that puts a food cube, a brown food cube on T6. It's another katydid. We already had katydid. It says tarsiers eat a variety of katydid species. Some katydid species use mimicry to look similar to leaves. I think most of them do, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, T6. Again, this Sifaka does not get that because they have to land there when it's already there. Okay, now the orangutan's going to turn over their environment card. Delenia pentagina. The fruits of Delenia pentagina are eaten by hulock gibbons. They look tasty. Y5 gets an orange food cube. Ooh, that now has 2 food cubes. That's pretty good. And the Sifaka has no way to get to that right now. Oh, except that this needs to come down to the bottom. Okay, it is now Sifaka's turn, and this is going into our last round. So let's take a look over here real quick. 6, 10, 15, 26, 36. So orangutan currently has 36 points. 6, 9, 12, 14, 21, 29, 35. Wow, it's really close right now. So right now orangutan has 36 points, and Sifaka, if I've done all all my counting right, has 30, I think it was 38. It's right around there. So they're within a couple of points of each other, actually. It was looking pretty dire for orangutan not long ago, but they have managed to catch up. So Safaka is not hanging on to their lead very strongly. So let's see. They are definitely going to do group movement. We are going to try to claim Diane's tarsier and, maybe, what do we have? We don't have leaping. Oh my goodness. Maybe we should, it's our last turn. We can't get more food. All we can hope to do is get up to the top or get an extinct. Are there any extinct ones we could get? Yes. Cartellis at P6, but we would have to do a solitary movement and really hope we would have to roll 2 3s, because remember, when you do solitary movement, you just roll 2 dice. So that is not likely. The probability of that is, of rolling 2 3s at the same time, the probability would be 1/3 times 1/3, which would be 1/9, which is just a little more than a 10% chance. I don't like my odds there. So I guess we're just going to do, let's take a look at these bonus cards. So if we do group movement, the best we can do is to gain Diane's tarsier, because we can't get any food. Food's worth a point each at the end of the game, but there's no food for us to gain with just solitary movement because these dice only move you up to 3. However, leaf mimicry gives us 5 points at the end of the game. It does let us convert food, but that doesn't really do us any good right now. And then our botanist allows us to double green food on space, but that doesn't do us any good, but it does give us 5 points. So you know what? The Diane's tarsier is only worth 2 points. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the rest action. We have 2 abilities that say when taking the rest action, we can discard an additional ability card to gain a heart. And we have 2 of these, and we have 4 ability cards. So let's do that. We're going to discard both of these and then these 2 cards here. So all 4 cards to move 2 on the heart track. 1, 2. That gained us a total of 5 points. So we discard those. And then we're taking the rest action. So we're just going to do, is there one of these that we can take that would harm orangutan? No. So we'll just take leaf mimicry and turn that over. It gives us egalitarian society. That's pretty cool. Northern Muraki maintain relatively egalitarian, non-hierarchical relationships with each other. That's pretty cool. Gives, at the end of the game, if the player lowest on the heart track is within 2 spaces of the player highest on the heart track, and not currently, they get to gain some points. All right, now I'm going to turn over my environment card. And it's going to put an orange food cube on Y6. This is Ficus punctata. Lar gibbons feed on various figs, including the beautiful Ficus punctata. The specific name punctata refers to it being spotted, which is barely visible in the picture, but a little bit. The artwork, I think, is just beautiful. Actually, I really like the artwork. So now it is orangutan's last turn. They are on H5, which, if they had 2 green and 2 orange, they're halfway there. They could get Danuvius for 9 points, and I think that would put them over to beat Safaka, which would be pretty awesome. They're also 1 away from T2, which is Titonius, which is worth 5 points, which actually I don't think would put them ahead. They've both got, because then they would have to give up their food. So remember, I think that Safaka was 3 points ahead of orangutan going into that last turn, and they gained 5 more points. So I think, this is a little bit of a guesstimate, if I counted right and my memory's good, I think they're currently 8 points ahead. So is there any way for orangutan to get 8 points? If they get a 3 and they can get the bearded capuchin, that is 3 points. Grauer's gorilla gives them also 3 points. 2, 3, 1. So if they could make it to T2, so here's my plan. We're going to do group movement. We're crossing our fingers a little bit. It's P6. Oh, that's worth 7 points. And if, and we could do that. Okay, so we've got some options. Here's the thing. If we can get to the top here and land on T2, this will give us that orange food cube and would not allow us to collect Titonius. We'd need a brown food cube, so that's not great. However, H5, if we get an orange food cube, that's not going to do it. We would have needed to go to Y5, 2, 3, and we can't get there. But if we get 2 and we make it to P6, we can get Cartellis because they're orange food cubes here. So if we got a 2 and a 2 or a 3 to get that orange food cube, and then it really doesn't matter what this one does because that's inconsequential. So let's do group movement and hope that we get at least a 2 and a 3. That's what we want. Okay. Yes! Okay, we might beat Safaka. All right, so we're going to move. Let's move this. How are we doing this? P6, yeah. Right, because what's H5? We can't get H5. So we're going to move 2 to P6. We'll take care of that in a minute because we first need to move 3. Oh, we only need to move 2 here. 1, 2, that's fine. We get that orange food cube. We need that. And that's done there. We are going to collect Grauer's gorilla, so we'll do that in a minute. And then this one's going to move 1. We're going to move to T2 just for the fun of it, but I don't think we could get that. So let's take a look. A P6 requires 2 orange and a green, and we have that. Look at that. We have an orange, an exudate, and a green food cube. So we're going to turn those in and collect this Cartellis, which says Cartellis coimbrophiloi. I think I'm saying that right. Cartellis coimbrophiloi was a Pleistocene monkey closely related to present-day howler monkeys. Worth 7 points. And we turned in our food cubes, so that comes off. Not that it matters, but let's just... Oh, Sahelanthropus. I teach about Sahelanthropus when we talk about human evolution in my evolution class. This goes to H5. That's a popular spot on the great apes lineage there. Okay, so that was 7 points. So I think, if I've done all my counting right, we're only 1 point currently behind Safaka, and we're going to claim this Grauer's gorilla, which gives us... Oh, my goodness. I love this story. Okay, so they give us Pirouette. You're going to love this, and it'll be worth 3 points at the end of the game. So let's see. Pirouette. This is such a fun story. I'll actually read you the notes that I wrote down. But this says, over 100 different gorilla gestures have been documented, including a pirouette gesture. So I don't know about the pirouette gesture in the wild. However, I will tell you about one in a zoo in a moment. This allows us to re-roll one of our dice, but that's inconsequential. So the notes that I wrote down for Grauer's gorilla, because I thought this was so cool, it says a young male Grauer's gorilla named Lope, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's Lope, known for his playful nature, was captured on video at Twycross Zoo performing a perfect pirouette. The gorilla, mimicking a ballerina, spins in a graceful and controlled manner, holding his arm out straight in front of him. This playful behavior is not uncommon among young gorillas of that age in the zoo. The video of Lope pirouetting gained significant online attention, highlighting the playful and sometimes surprising behaviors of these magnificent animals. I just thought that was a really cool story. All right, I think we are done. Just turn that over for completionist. This would move to the bottom. And, we turn over our last environment card, but honestly, that doesn't really matter because we just get food on those spaces, but we wouldn't be able to collect it. All right. Anyway, so now it is just time to count up our points. And so let's see. We do have score sheets, but you don't really need... Oh, I forgot to count the hearts. Orangutan might have lost. Okay, anyway, we do have score sheets. We don't truly need them. We can count up our points, but let's use it anyway. Okay, so we're doing orangutan and Safaka. So hearts-wise, Safaka, this might be why Safaka beats orangutan. Orangutan only got 4 points in their hearts, so not great. These would be our extant primates. So orangutan got central chimpanzee, Wallace's tarsier, brown howler, Macassar tarsier, and pygmy marmoset and Grauer's gorilla. So a total of 18 points. Let's see. Safaka has mandrill, white-faced capuchin, pygmy slow loris, gray mouse lemur, and Bolivian titi for, 14 points. For extinct primates, orangutan has 26 points, and Safaka has 21 points, and bonus cards. So actually, orangutan never got any bonus cards. Interesting choice. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that wouldn't have put them over the edge in the last turn. However, Safaka got 8 points. So 0 for orangutan, 8 points for Safaka. And Safaka has 2 food left over, so I'm pretty sure those are worth a point apiece. Let me double check. Yes, 1 point each, and orangutan got 0. 48 points for orangutan, and 57 points, if I did math in my head correctly, for Safaka. So we had high hopes, but we forgot all about the heart track. Orangutan needed to maybe focus. I don't know what they could have done. Maybe tried to get up to the top a little quicker. I'm not sure. They made some decisions along the way that hindered them. Maybe hanging out too long at an extinct primate. I'm not so sure. But anyway, it was close, 48 to 57. Not terrible. Hopefully that gave you a good feeling of what it is like to play the game. Like I said, it is a roll and move game, which I was very skeptical. Okay, not very skeptical. I was a bit skeptical going into it. I did an unboxing video for my Patreon supporters. And I remember when I was reading through the rule book and saw that it was roll to move, that I was like, okay, we'll see how it goes. But I really enjoy this. And I think this is a game my mom can play. I guess I'm getting into the review. So here we are. I think that the decisions are still interesting. Now, if you're a heavy Eurogamer, probably this is not the game for you because there is still quite a bit of luck with the rolling of the dice. But I think that some of that is mitigated with the fact that the dice only go up to 3, which makes it not quite as swingy. And so that helps. The fact that you can choose between solitary movement and group movement. I never did choose to do solitary movement during this game. I thought about it. I almost did it, but chose not to. And instead, I think I went for the rest action is what I did. So I think it's okay. And I think this is a game my mom can play, which I really like. I love how colorful it is. I love the artwork. I think the artwork is very well done. Really highlights the features of the primates quite nicely. I think the choices that they made for these environment cards were really nice. And what I really like is you learn a little something on each card, but it's not overwhelming, right? You just get one quick fact, and I think that that's great. I love the mix of the extant primates being here on the tree. We are going up the lineages. I think they settled on the correct number of lineages for this. They could have broken it down a little further, but I think it's good that they didn't. I think the 6 lineages was a good thing to go with. We have our 3 piles of our extinct primates. I think that is the right number for the board. Any more than that, and they might not have felt so special, and any fewer, they would have felt too hard to get. I think the bonus cards are pretty good. I can tell you, in the games that we've played so far, we've not really focused on these too much, but there are some interesting ones that... see if I can find one. Oh, this is pretty cute. We'll read about that in a minute. Yeah, so the ones that give you points for specific types of primates, or specific species even, at the end of the game are nice. This one gives you 6 points if you have the most or are tied for the most hearts at the end of the game. This gives you for a particular primate, grade 8 species. Oh, this one allows you, I haven't seen this one before. Move one of your primates to one of the 3 extinct tokens on the board. Look at that sagittal crest. If you don't know what that is, it's that where the bone along the top, so muscles attached there, and tells you that whoever the skull belonged with, they had a strong jaw. So there you go. Wildlife corridors are amazing. Anyway, gray-headed tanagers. So yeah, the bonus cards are really cool. Oh, self-medication. That's cool too. So we'll talk about that. I'll wait till the end after I do the review. And we'll end with talking about some of these really cool. So long arms, this gives you, for each extant gibbon or siamang, gives you a point. So I like these end game points. They're better to get early on unless you already know that you fulfill them, then maybe they're good. So here's those. Let's see if there's some other cool ones here. This is cute. Laughter. When tickled, bonobos and chimpanzees exhibit laughter quite similar to humans. So I do like the bonus cards. We tend not to focus on them, but they're interesting and useful sometimes. I guess I kind of wish that they maybe recycled more often, but that could be a factor of this being just a 2-person game. We played 3 players before, and they did actually cycle through a decent amount because there are ability cards that can refresh the bonus cards, and then there's those sunrise or sunset, I can't remember, sunrise cards that refresh all the bonus cards. There's not very many of those in the deck, but there are some. So, know your noses. This is interesting. Endgame points for different, so wet-nosed, flat-nosed, downward-nosed, golden snub-nosed monkey, and proboscis monkey. I love baobab trees. They're just so cool looking. Yeah, I like the bonus cards, but they're not a huge part of the game, but just enough. I think most of the game you are trying to get to the top to get the extant primates, and then also collect enough food along the way to claim these extinct primates. And so that's really fun. Let's see, I should be looking at my review checklist. How many times I've played the game. I think, I forgot to look this up. I think we have played this 3 times before now, so this will be my 4th time. And actually, I've been wanting to introduce this to my mom. It's been a month that wasn't going to happen. So she's not been wanting to learn new games recently, so we haven't been playing a lot of new games with her, but I think she would like this one. It's really colorful. Let's see, I wish it had a solo mode, but honestly, I had a lot of fun just playing 2. It's the first time I've done that, so I haven't played just the 2-handed game before, and I actually had a lot of fun doing that. I think partly because it's such a fun, colorful game with these nice chunky tokens, and the decisions are just interesting enough, but it's light enough that I'm not stressing about it. Like, it was a really fun sort of light gaming experience. And that's the way that we felt when we played, the 3 of us. Now, it was me and my partner and our son, and we were all surprised at the end by how much we enjoyed it. We were all a little skeptical about the roll to move thing, but really pleasantly surprised about that and felt that it was interesting, felt that there were good decisions. So we enjoyed playing it. What feelings or thoughts do the mechanisms invoke? So as far as being thematic, it's very mechanical in your movement, right? You're moving up the tree. It's supposed to represent sort of primates climbing trees and then evolution all at the same time, which is really cool. I think the abilities are fun. The names of them are really fun, and they're thematic in the way that you play them. Okay, so not heavy thematic integration, but playing the game is fun because you learn a little bit, but it doesn't feel overly teachy. I think this would be a great classroom game. I wish for a classroom that it played more than 4 players, but I know in my son's social studies class, he's in 7th grade, and they play games a lot in his 7th grade, or in his social studies class. And they'll play teams on turn-based games. So like a game like this, which obviously they're not going to do in social studies, but they might have done in biology. A game like this, they could do teams of 3 maybe, would actually be pretty fun because there's 3 tokens for each primate. So yeah, what was the question again? What's it like to play the game? Oh, what feelings or thoughts? It's just fun. It's fun. And you do learn a little bit, and it really makes you think about that a little bit, but not in an overly teachy sort of way. So I think that's really good. Let's see what's next. Thoughts that went into purchasing the game. I actually do remember seeing this on Kickstarter. So this particular copy was actually provided for me in exchange for doing a playthrough and review. So just the game. And and that reminds me, I did get the deluxe version. So we'll take a look at the deluxe components here. Or not deluxe, I guess it comes with 4 mini expansions. So we'll take a look at those as well at the end. But I do remember when this was on Kickstarter, and I did consider backing it. And if I remember correctly, this was a while ago, so I don't totally remember what my thinking was, but I think I chose not to back it because it doesn't have a solo mode. And in retrospect, if I had not been provided a copy, I would be sad because I found this really enjoyable. Now, it is a light game. Like I said, if you're a heavy gamer, this is probably not the game for you. If you're a teacher, a life science teacher, I think this could be a lot of fun in the classroom. If you homeschool, this is a fabulous game. So I will put up right now a picture of the other side of the board. So this is a 2-sided board. You only play on one side. So this is the playing side. The other side has a slightly more detailed phylogenetic tree for primates, and it is beautiful. So hopefully I'm showing a picture of that right now on the screen. So I think for homeschooling, this is a fabulous game. I think it can work at a lot of different education levels. And in fact, in the summer, I teach a course, an online course, Evolution for Educators. And I think I'm going to talk about this game, talk talk to them about it, because this could be a really great game. It's the class I teach is all middle school and high school students, and I think that is the right age for this game. So there's that. And honestly, if I was teaching at a community college or a small university where I had smaller class sizes, my class sizes right now are large, too large for this, but this would even be good at a university level, I think, because you're learning quite a lot of the same things that I teach when I teach evolution, and we do a unit on human evolution. Anyway, that's great. Now I can't remember what the question was. Thoughts went into purchasing. So again, this was provided to me in exchange, but no payment was provided. So it was just the game provided for the playthrough and review. Is it fun at all player counts? So I have played it 3-player. I've not yet played it 4-player, but I don't think it would be any different. Let's see. I can't remember the difference. The number of rounds changes. So a 2-player game is 10 rounds. 3-player game is 9 rounds, and a 4-player game is just 8 rounds. So that seems about right. So the time to play the game, which says 45 to 90 minutes, that sounds about right. I want to say we didn't get up to 90 minutes. I don't know what this was, but I was talking a lot. For 2 players, I wish there was a way for there to be a little more food on the board, but you do have the 2 extra rounds, so maybe that makes up for it. I don't know. I'd have to play it with my partner at 2 players a couple of times to really talk more about that, so I'm not sure about 2 players. It was fun at 3 players, and I think it would be fine at 4 players. I don't think that would be too many. I don't think it would drag it out. Now, there are rules online, and I'll provide a link down in the description for if you want there to be more rounds in the game. And I think that would be fun, quite honestly. I think it extends it by 2 or 3 rounds. What do you do between turns? There is not much downtime between turns. Turns are pretty snappy, so you're not waiting. When we played this with our son, who is my barometer for downtime between turns, he did not wander around, away from the table very much, if I recall correctly. Decisions on your turn. Interesting decisions. This is a light game, so don't go into it expecting heavy strategy. It's a little bit more on the tactical side as the food comes out, and depending on what extinct primates are out here. I'm not paying as much attention when I'm playing to which extant primates are up here. Maybe I just haven't played enough to be excited about some of the abilities. As I played more and got more familiar with the abilities, maybe I would try to go for those a little more. That might be something to consider, but mostly what I'm considering when I am making my decisions during the game is trying to get food and to get these extinct primates. And then if I have a bonus card that provides endgame scoring, I'm sometimes looking at that as well. Visual appeal, I keep talking about that. I love the art in this game. I think it's quite charming. It's very colorful. It's fun. It's like happy colors. So there's my thoughts on that. I've been talking about it the whole game, so not much more to say there. The chunky player tokens are really nice, and I don't think that those are unique to the Kickstarter version. I think it just had the 1 print run so far. Table presence. So if you were at a convention playing this, I think people would stop and look. I think most people who are into heavier games would stop and look and comment on the art and then move on. But I think it's very appealing, especially for younger players, because of the bright artwork. And even if it's a younger, I don't know what's the age on this? This is 14 plus. I don't know. I guess if your family's not a gaming family, our son just is about to turn 13. I honestly think if you are a gaming family, if you're used to playing games, I think you could go down to 10 on this and be totally fine. Now, they may not understand all the evolution and stuff, but I think they would learn some fun things and enjoy it. And I think the colorful nature of the game really helps with that. Length, we did feel like it was pretty quick, but not that it ended way too soon. So that's good. There's not too much player interaction. You did see a little bit of it when I was shoving players across the board. There was that one card that would have allowed me to push a player down to the base of the tree. So there's some negative player interaction that way, but at the same time, there's also positive player interaction, like this one that gives hearts to the person on your right. And I think there was maybe some other positive player interactions. So, not a ton of player interaction, but just enough. And you're, of course, racing for the food, and you are racing for the extinct primates. So you do have to keep an eye on what food people have. And you have to keep an eye on their abilities, because remember, I had that ability that let me get a couple of exudate tokens in exchange for a food token. So you do have to pay attention to that. Not very complex. That's next on my list, is complexity. This is definitely a light game. If somebody's never played a modern board game before, I think they would be fine, because the rolling dice to move is a familiar mechanic. But I think even if you've played games before, it's still interesting. Well, that's us, right? We were nervous about the roll to move mechanic, or mechanism. However, it turned out to be fine. There were still interesting decisions. So not very complex, definitely a light game, but interesting, still interesting decisions to make. Luck versus skill. Definitely there is a bunch of luck with the dice rolls, but again, I think the fact that they only go up to 3 really helps mitigate that swinginess, and also makes it so that if you're really trying to go for a particular food or a particular extinct primate, if you're doing the group movement, you can usually control your movement in such a way that you're not shooting past it. So I think definitely the skill comes in the decision making and the planning. There's not so much advanced planning that it's overwhelming, so it's perfectly fine for people who don't play many board games. So I don't know if that made any sense at all, but those are my thoughts on that. Challenging or easy, this is definitely on the easy side. Uniqueness. Okay, so roll to move as a mechanism is not unique at all, and certainly collecting some sort of resource to pay for something else on spaces, that's not unique. So none of the mechanisms themselves are unique, but this whole idea of moving up this tree and paying attention to, these lineages and their different behaviors and focusing so much on the primates, I think it's really well done. I'm not so sure about the heart track down here. I guess it's just a nice other way to get points. I'm not really sure thematically how that is really going in. I guess the health of your primate group or something. But anyway, so the theme is unique. The primate evolution theme, very well done. And in fact, I just want to point out that in this rule book, I'll actually come back to the rule book here in a minute. However, I love the fact, so you'll appreciate this if you're a science geek, but they have references for all of the cards. So for the bonus cards, these are scientific papers. So for the bonus cards, the ability cards, the environment cards, and the extinct cards all have, I think it's all of them. Yeah, so they would all have their scientific references. So there's a total of almost 200 references. And then they have all the photography credits here. And then here's a cool thing. If you are using it in the classroom or for homeschooling, it sort of gives you a starting point for discussion of different topics in the classroom, ranging from biology to chemistry, ecology, ethology, geology, and law, which I thought was really interesting. And then a deeper look at the board in primates talks about some of the different spaces on the board and the different time periods that those spaces occurred in. So for instance, if we look at, it says the numbers on the spaces of the board roughly correspond to the following geologic periods. So spaces with a 6 or a 7 would be more recent, so the Quaternary period, from 2.5 million years ago to the present, and so on, and moving down to the base of the tree. So let's see, rulebook. So speaking of the rulebook, very easy to learn from. So we have our setup here, lots of lovely pictures to lead you through it. Talks about, and I love it when rulebooks do this, where they give you up front, like here's the big picture, the rounds and objective, tells you the turn structure, outlines the 3 possible actions, rules for movement. There aren't many. We have our color. I will say I was expecting to know what the food tokens were a little earlier in the book, but I did find it. And then how to acquire them and spending them. Anyway, this is laid out very well. Lots of nice pictures, easy to read. For somebody with older eyes like me, it is not too small on the print. It tells you about anatomy of the different cards and what they mean. So yeah, I think they did a great job on the rulebook. It's decent quality. And 9 ways to help primates and other animals. A little note from the designer and game credits here. So definitely a good job on the rulebook. I forgot to look up the MSRP on this. So let's see, let's think. Card quality, I haven't talked about component quality. Card quality is good. I think this is the linen finish. These can definitely stand up to not only lots of shuffling, but younger hands that might not treat games so nicely. So great card quality, dice. Nice chunky tokens for the player tokens. The extinct tokens are good too. Food cubes are standard. I do like these exudate tokens. They're actually, I don't know if you can see it, they're screen printed. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so anyway, they got a little bit of detail on them, which is nice. The player boards, I do like having the player boards. It is nice to have sort of a structure for arranging your cards. not just for each player individually, but so that when you look at somebody else's arrangement of cards, you immediately know what they have. And so I do like that a lot. I like the fact that there are plenty of the different card types. So these are all of the bonus cards. I'll take a look at how many in a moment. There are plenty of these environment cards. Let's see, what does it say? 67 bonus cards, 24 extinct primate cards, 74 environment cards, which is quite a lot when you think about in a 2-player game, we only use 20 of them. Then we get our round reminder cards, player mats. So I guess if I could say anything negative about it is I wish that just solely from a using it in the classroom perspective, I wish it played maybe up to 6 players, but maybe they tested that and maybe it doesn't work very well. So maybe there is a reason it is just 4 players. I don't know. But, that would be just me thinking about it from a teaching standpoint. Replayability, that is last on my list to talk about. I think it's fine. I don't think your the way you think about the game is not going to change a ton from game to game. But like I said, there are many of these different cards, so you're learning new things. We didn't make it through in a 2-player game. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In a 2-player game, we made it through 11 of the Extant primate cards. And if we look at how many there are, we have about 90, I think just under 90 Extant primate cards. And we saw 11 of them in this 2-player game. So yeah, so you're going to see a bunch of different ones. You're going to see different abilities in a game. So I think the replayability is good. If you pull it out every once in a while, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And especially if you're using it in teaching or homeschooling or something like that, I think it'll be fun. But I don't even think you need to be doing this for teaching. I think if you're a science geek, that you will enjoy this because it just gets you thinking about things and it's really fun. And the artwork is quite charming. So there's that. Okay, so that was the review. Let's take a look at these mini expansions. So we have Lemurs mini expansion pack. So we would just add these in, which I didn't want to do because I didn't want to give you, the impression that these came. We have Silky Safaka. Oh, we have new abilities. Oh, look at these new abilities. Okay, we'll look at those in a minute. We have Silky Safaka, Golden Bamboo Lemur, Gray Bamboo Lemur. That is adorable. Red ruffed lemur. I love red ruffed lemurs. I don't know. There's just something about the way they look that I think is so cool. And common brown lemur. And that is an amazing picture. Okay, that's great. Diademed Safaka. I just think Safakas are so cool. Pale fork marked lemur. So I actually went to the Duke Primate Center as an undergraduate. We took a field trip there. I went to undergraduate at University of North Carolina in Asheville, and we drove all the way to Raleigh, my mammalogy class, to go to the Duke Primate Center, and it was amazing. I don't remember all the details about it, but I remember being totally impressed, especially with the habitat for the primates. I think it's mostly lemurs, if I remember right. Anyway, but looks like we have new abilities here, so let's take a look at what those are. Geophagia, which I've never heard of. Many lemur species intentionally consume soil or clay. Oh, right, geophagia. Some scientists hypothesize that the practice may have health benefits. Interesting. We have bamboo feeding, social grooming, leaping. Oh, so leaping now extends to our wet-nosed primates. And tree. So the Safakas do the leaping, which, like I said, if you have not seen it, go on YouTube and find video. They're short of Safakas doing their leaping because it's pretty amazing. And then tree exudates. Fork-marked lemurs feed on tree exudates. So that is the lemurs mini expansion. And we have New World Monkeys mini expansion. I like it when expansions just add more stuff but don't change the rules. Blonde capuchin, black capuchin, Central American spider monkey. That's cool. White-bellied spider monkey, red-mantled saddleback tamarin, white-lipped tamarin, Midas tamarin. That's cool looking. Never heard of them. And let's see what behaviors we have, or abilities. False alarm. Black capuchins have been observed to occasionally give false alarm calls even when a predator is not around. This may be a form of deception to reduce competition for food. Oh, that's clever. Prehensile tail, Tree swaying. White-bellied spider monkeys in Ecuador use tree swaying to cross gaps in the canopy. Oh, that's quite clever. Cool. Termite fishing. Social grooming. More social grooming. Seed pod gum. Midas tamarins eat the sticky gum exuded from the seed pods of Parkia pendula. Oh, we had one of those in our environments. Okay, so that is our New World Monkeys mini expansion. We have Incredible Behaviors, another mini expansion. Yes, so 5 bonus cards. We have Camera Trap. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. More Camera Trap. Water Escape. Proboscis monkeys often jump into swamps and rivers to escape predators. That's smart. Fattest Tail. In order to prepare for hibernation, fat-tailed dwarf lemurs gorge on food and store the fat in their tails. I did not know that. That is pretty cool. Insect digestion. Tarsiers are very efficient at digesting insects. This is due in part to the tarsiers' unique suite of enzymes that aid in breaking down an insect's tough chitin polymers. So chitin is very similar to cellulose, which humans cannot digest. And the way that ruminants digest cellulose is by having those fancy 4-chambered stomachs. Can't tell you much more than that. I'm not great at physiology, but I can tell you that they have similar chemical structures, which is why that chitin is usually indigestible. So that's interesting that they can digest that. So Incredible Behaviors expansion. And then the last one, Biodiversity mini expansion. So it looks like more bonus cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have Atlantic Forest along the Atlantic coast of Brazil, the Congo Basin in Central Africa, Borneo. So, biodiversity, right? Sumatra, Amazon. Look at that cool frog. I'm going to focus. There we go. Okay, and then Sulawesi. Sulawesi is a large Indonesian island that is home to many different tarsier species. I'm probably not pronouncing everything right, but anyway, so those are the 4 mini expansions that are available. So I wanted to talk about these 3 in particular. So first of all, fission fusion, because I actually don't know what this is. So let's take a look. Chimpanzees have fission fusion societies where groups of animals merge, so that's fusion, or split, fission, as they move through the environment. I didn't know that. That looks interesting. Self-medication, I think this is quite interesting. So my degree is actually in disease ecology, and I find this self-medication thing that primates do quite interesting. It says chimpanzees sometimes swallow sharp-edged leaves without chewing them. Some scientists speculate that this behavior may be a form of self-medication to control parasites. They will also sometimes chew leaves that may have a medicating effect. So that's not mentioned on here, but that is also a truth thing. Okay, and then camera trap. So this says a camera trap is a camera that is connected to a motion sensor. They can be used to better understand the behavior of primates in the wild. They can be used to understand the behavior of a lot of different animals in the wild. And actually, when we discovered some holes in our yard at the start of this spring when we were out there cleaning up, we actually wanted to know who made the holes. So we got a cheap trail camera and set that up. And so it turns out that we had a rabbit that looked like it was going to make a nest, but it never did. So that was a bummer. And then we had some smaller holes that we never figured out what made those. We had another baby bunny that was in another part of our yard. And then now we have voles, and we're not sure how we feel about that. So, because right now they're under our Spanish broom, and we really don't want to lose our Spanish broom. So we might get some deterrence for the voles. Generally, I love to have wildlife in my yard, but we'll see. Anyway, so camera trap. If you have experience with voles in your yard, let me know. So I don't know what to do about it because I generally want to encourage animals in my yard. All right. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I hope the review was useful to you if you are thinking about purchasing this game. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, especially if you are a teacher or if you're homeschooling, this would be a great game. But even if you're not, I think that the gameplay is fun. It's not overly educational in a sense that you feel like you're forced into learning stuff. I think part of what makes this game fun is the enjoyment of learning some new things. Right? So that's part of what makes this game so fun. It's definitely a lighter game, so if you're heavy, like Eurogamer, maybe this isn't the game for you. But if you are a science geek, you like evolution, you like primates, you like learning new things, then definitely I would encourage you to check it out. So that is everything I have for you. I will see you in the next one. Bye.